Welcome to this Warmachine Mark II video where I run through various different encounters between this Cryx and Rhulic force. It's not really a completely fair fight because I had far more Cryx on the table than I did Rhulic points, but it was just a bit of fun to see how things would pan out. It was essentially Goreshade versus Gorten the Rhulic caster, who you can see in the frame. The Hammerfell high shields, those little Rhulics with the shields and the rifles, have been notoriously poor in Mark II for me, so I thought I'd try them again here and see if I could make them work out. This is the first round of the set piece, with the Rhulic force going first, with Gorten receiving his 5 focus, which I'm now just assigning out to his warjacks. Dirty Meg is just behind Gorten and is marshalling a Nomad heavy warjack, which you can see there. So first off, I took these Hammerfell high shields and, without moving them so I'd get a bonus to attack, I took a shot at the Bane Knights, which you can see over to the right. With the first attack, you could see my to-hit roll was 11. For the uninitiated, I shall take you through how this carbine attack is calculated. The Hammerfell High Shield Gun Corps have a ranged attack of 5. They didn't move, so they get a +2 modifier on their to-hit for the ranged attack, meaning their total attack is 7. The Bane Knights, defending, have a defense stat of 12, with a minimum 2d6 score required of 5 to hit. My modifier to attack is that 7, and I rolled 11 on the dice. So that's a total of 18 on my attack roll. It's a definite hit. So one of the Rhulics is hit with his carbine, which has a power of 10. The Bane Knights have an armor 16, so I need to achieve a higher score than 16 to do a point of damage. And the Bane Knights only have 1 damage point, so I need a minimum 2d6 score of 7 on the dice roll. My modifier to the dice roll is 10, plus my 6 rolled. Not enough damage with that attack, with only 16 matching the armor rather than beating it. Over the other side of the table, I've got the Nis Hunters are in the forest, and they're making their way out. They take various shots over at Goreshade and the MKII. The Nis have Pathfinder, so they're not affected by reduced movement while they're in the forest. With their shooting, they managed to take out 3 of the MKII and also do a couple of points of damage on Goreshade, the Warcaster. The 2 light Rhulic warjacks are now called into action. This one's the Grundback Blaster, and this was the Gunner. Using a focus point after his move, he takes a shot to boost the attack against one of the Bane Knights, which is a hit. And then boost the damage against it. By boosting his single shot against that Bane Knight, he ensured a kill. 1 less Bane Knight on the table. This is the Grundback Blaster, which has a spray attack and 2 focus assigned to it. It moves out to the centre of the field and takes a spray blast at the remaining MKII. It manages to kill off 1 more. Dirty Meg has kept her Nomad back in a counter-strike position, ready to assault anything that comes in. At the end of this first turn, you can see that the Cryx have lost 4 of those Mechanothrals and a couple of Bane Knights. This is Goreshade now having his 7 focus assigned to him. The Deathjack actually receives 2 focus automatically. That's the Slayer who's been given 1. But while the Deathjack has 2 working arms, he gets 2 focus automatically, which doesn't come out of Goreshade's pool. The Deathjack costs a lot of points to put onto the table, but he has very high armor, strength, attack, and those 2-3 focus that he gets are absolutely brilliant. What's happened here is Goreshade has used his once per game feat, which is to summon a unit of Bane Thralls, which are these guys in brown. They've simply charged in because they get to activate immediately against the Nis and are wailing down some death upon them. Oh dear, that's the Nis leader, Selena. She's dead. The Bane Knights rolled 4 dice on the damage because 2 is the normal roll. They get +1 from being Weapon Masters, so that's 3 dice, plus 1 extra dice from the charge. So 4 dice damage tends to take out most troops. That's why you want to try and avoid getting alpha charged by a unit of Weapon Masters. Or you could put some cheap troops in front to take the brunt of a big charge and then counter-strike. Goreshade has used Mage Blight the spell, which means that on Gorten's turn, he gets his focus, but he's got to be careful that he's outside of Goreshade's command range. Whilst within the 14-inch command range of Goreshade, Gorten will not be able to use spells or feats. This is the blaster, which was almost destroyed, barring a couple of damage boxes when the Bane Knights charged it last turn. It's pulled out and got wrecked in the process, but I wanted to clear that charge lane for the Nomad. So sacrificing the crippled blaster was not a big deal. The Hammerfell High Shields then took a shot at the remaining Mechanothrals there and finished them off so that the charge lane is now open between the Nomad and the Deathjack. This turn, Gorten, the Rhulic Warcaster, takes his feat, which allows him to shift figures up to 8 inches towards one table edge. With that landslide feat, Gorten is able to select which of the figures move in which order, as long as they're within his command range, which is 10 inches, twice his focus of 5. Dirty Meg uses her drive ability to allow this Nomad to charge over that rough terrain marker left behind by the dead blaster, and does an alpha charge in against the Deathjack. You can see from this damage grid that column 6, 1 and 2 took damage from the attacks from the Nomad, which haven't touched those critical systems there, the left arm, the L and the right arm, the C which is the cortex, and M which is movement for that Deathjack. The Nis then continue to chop up these Bane Thralls, leaving just the leader and one straggler which got dragged over by Gorten's feat landslide. The mistake made last turn by Goreshade was to use his Mage Blight feat, but then move too far away for it to be effective against Gorten. Back to the Cryx turn, and you can see the Deathjack still gets his 2 automatic focus, and Goreshade is now assigning his own focus, and possibly going to drop one there on the Slayer as well so it can do a charge in to try and finish off some of those Nis. This straggler Bane Thrall has to make his way back to join unit integrity with the leader over there, so basically he's running to catch up with him. Gorten's landslide feat had dragged him over nearer to him. It's a shame he can't use an attack against him now because he has to regain that unit integrity. The other Bane Thrall takes a whack, finishes off one more Nis. This turn ends with the Slayer killing that Nis, the Deathjack almost killing the Nomad, and Goreshade taking another Nis out. On Gorten's last turn, he summons a rock wall to defend, takes out a few of the local Cryx troops that were still straggling, but unfortunately on the final turn, Goreshade charges in, and even against the shield wall that's been raised by Gorten there, he still manages to do 1 more point of damage than required to finish off Gorten. So the Cryx lost a lot of troops in this, but still managed to finish the game in the end with an attack on Gorten. It was a bit unfairly balanced, but it was fun playing it.